Was your Talos back when the Retro Reviews here on Talos Retro Reviews with another SummerSlam review in 1994. You know, I said 93 was a down period in WWE. 94 was another one. And, um, basically this was mostly just the start of the new generation era, and we also know about this era. It was a really mixed bag of an era. So, there is that part. Also, this was the last. I gotta point this out. This was the last pay-per-view appearance of Macho Man Randy Savage, because he was the host for this show, and you could tell he was both feet are out the door, and he was on his way to WCW. And we all know around this time in WCW, Hulk Hogan came to WCW, and around this time he was the World Heavyweight Champion on. Yeah. So yeah. And basically, SummerSlam is this weekend, so I gotta get this done and over with. So now, let's get into it. The show is mostly based around the return of Paul Bear's Undertaker, aka the real Undertaker. You know, in the main event slot against himself, which sounds awfully familiar to what I did. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. August 29th at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Kind of funny, that was the same venue that Elimination Chamber 226, this year's Elimination Chamber, took place in the United Center. Yeah. Basically, there is that. So, let's get into it. With Bam Bam Bigelow and IRS defeating the Headstringers by disqualification. This was originally supposed to be for the tag team titles, but at a house show, Shawn Michaels and Diesel won the tag team titles. So, and there was that. It was a decent tag team match. If the titles were aligned, I guess the original plan was supposed to have Bigelow and IRS won them, but I guess not. But still. Still, I get a 5 out of 10. You know, it was a fine match. It was a fine match. Anyways. So, next up is for the WWF Women's Championship. Alundra Blaze defeats Bull Nakano. This is a little, like, not talk about the show, but I gotta figure out Bull Nakano, so probably coming soon to my feds, but still. Um, this was a decent match. And all I have to say, really. You know, 6 out of 10 I'll give this match. Yeah. Anyways, next up is for the Intercontinental Championship. Razor Ramon defeats Diesel to win the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, Diesel was a hold both belts at this point. And, yeah. And this was the beginning of the start of the Shawn Diesel problems. The the program didn't start until Survivor Series, which I'll probably revisit that by November. Spoiler alert. Um, yeah, because at the end of it, Shawn was going to super kick Diesel, Razor ducked, and Shawn finally hit Diesel instead. And yeah, great Intercontinental title match. You know, it was a letdown for the Halloween Havoc 98 letdown they had, but this was a 180. 7.5 out of 10 I'll give this match. And yeah. Anyways. Then Tatanka defeats Lex Luger. This is a story because Tatanka thinks Lex Luger sold out to Ted DiBiase, which... Yeah, this was right after Luger lost all the momentum. Look at SummerSlam the year prior. If you saw, he failed to win the world title. If you know, you know. Was a co-winner in the Royal Rumble, lost to Yoko again, lost in the King Ring, and then he lost here. And Tatanka was the one who sold out. Yeah. Yeah. Luger was never the same after losing to Yokozuna. And all I say is, damn you, Bret Hart, for doing that. I don't know, but still. Yeah, a letdown. It's a 3 out of 10. It's... Yeah. Anyways, then Jeff Jarrett defeats Mabel, aka Viscera. Although this will be Jeff Jarrett versus Doink the Clown for some reason, but I don't know why. 1 out of 10, just there. I've been seeing a lot of Jeff Jarrett throughout this year. And Viscera also. You know, it's kind of funny. Viscera with me at the full year SummerSlam against... Yeah, that was a disaster. Although I do believe Viscera will be... I believe that Viscera could be a main eventer, but... Not 1995. They have probably Ruthless Aggression era, probably. But yeah. And then, next... We're not there yet. Next up is a steel cage match for the WWF Championship, and people claim this should be the main event. No! The whole... What am I trying to say? The whole... marketing about this whole thing is the return of the real Undertaker. And I thoroughly apologize for that, but... This whole period was about the Undertaker returning. Not the phony Undertaker, we'll get to that. Bret Hart defeats Owen Hart to retain the WWF Championship. A lot of people saying this is a 10 out of 10 classic. A lot of people are going to say that. Boy, I hate to be that guy. And you know what I'm trying to say. This is overrated. This is an overrated match. I'm sorry. And why was this match 32 freaking minutes? Yes, I know it's a championship match. I get it, but why was this 32 goddamn effing minutes? Look, it was a great match, but it's really overrated. I give it like an 8 out of 10 because I was like, please just get to the fucking end where Bret Hart leaves the cage, please. And it did, and then afterwards, it started always back at Survivor Series where Owen was blaming Bret because he was the only man who eliminated in that match. Then Owen did the whole kick your leg out of your leg, oh man, and then the match at WrestleMania, and then King of the Ring where Owen won the tournament and all that. But it was 32 goddamn minutes. And it's really goddamn overrated. That's where Jim Hart attacks the British Bulldog, who came back at this point. I believe this was his return, yeah. And then there's a big riot thing, and yeah, that was it. And then finally, the actual main event. The Undertaker defeats the Undertaker. Yeah, Undertaker. So, Royal Rumble, Undertaker lost that casket match to Yokozuna, and says he will never rest in peace and all that, and then he was ascending from the heavens. And then there was a bunch of random people saying Undertaker was in this, and he was in this, it was this. Looks like the Elvis is still alive thing, like, which is kind of what the fuck. And then Teddy DiBiase claims he brought back the Undertaker, which he did. It was an imposter Undertaker, really, played by Brian Lee. And then Paul Bearer claimed he found the actual Undertaker, which he was right all along. And okay, let's get to this whole point. The fucking entrance is amazing, where Paul Bearer comes out with a double wide WD casket, which is not. I don't think it's the same one from the. No, it was not the same one from the Royal Rumble. Brought out a gigantic fucking urn, and then a beam of light came out of that urn, led to the actual Undertaker coming out to the ring, and the crowd popped for that. And then the bell rung. It lasted 8 minutes. But let's be fair here. This match was not going to be longer than 8 minutes. So I get why. But it told a good story of the return of The Undertaker and all that. But, I don't get why we get a mirror match in the main event of this pay-per-view. But, look, they had to have The Undertaker come up at the last match. And they did. And The Undertaker defeats The Undertaker. Yes, Undertaker. With 3 tombstones. Kind of a precursor to what he did to Kane in WrestleMania 14 with the 3 tombstones. Taker had purple gloves. The real one, that is. The actual Undertaker had purple gloves and all that. Tombstone him 3 times. The fake one for the 3. And then afterwards, the Druids came out, opened the casket, put the faker in, and he disappeared, and he would never be seen again as this persona. And then Leslie Nielsen says he solved the case throughout this entire show. He was trying to find the Undertaker also. I had to point that out. What the hell? 3.5 I'll give this match. Yeah, I rate it better than the Jeff Jarrett Viscera match. Yeah, Viscera. Whatever. So yeah, another solid SummerSlam, but that's all I have to say about this SummerSlam, really. And yeah. SummerSlam 94 is in the books. 6.5 out of 10 I'll give it. So anyways, we're going back to 2006 TNA for Hard Justice. Continue my journey through it. And then after we Hardcore Justice to continue the 2011 tradition. So there's that. I'll see you for my SummerSlam review and all that. The reason why I'm not doing Raw and SmackDown reviews anymore because there's too much shit for me to handle right at this point. So sorry for that, but I'll still review the pay-per-view still. So there's that still. I'll keep the playlists on the Raw and SmackDown reviews still on my main channel. That is, because I want to focus more on my pig fed and movie reviews and film reviews and all that. With the Power Rangers going into it, and I might do the more cartoon movie also. So I heard some good things, but I hadn't watched it still. But that's yeah. So there's that. So like this video, comment below, subscribe to this channel, notification bell, and I'll see you for my SummerSlam review also. There, bye bye.